What is up, my friends? Welcome back to another video. And today I just wanted to have a candid conversation with you regarding the art of writing music and go over 3 golden rules that I think if you keep in mind and really internalize and put into practice, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a piece of music that is special and stands out and literally attracts people. So writing music and composing music is sometimes seen as such an overwhelming thing, and the whole idea of writing music is something meant to be enjoyed and something meant to excite us, right? So as long as we can keep things simple and think about things in a simple way, I think it makes the overall experience a lot more fun. So before we kind of dive into those rules though, in case you're starting out and you're writing music, but you're not really sure if you have the proper equipment and you want to make sure you're correctly set up, I want to give you my Composer's Toolkit guide. And it's totally free, but it basically shows you all the essentials you need to really get up and running in writing music, setting up your studio and everything like that. So if you're interested in just making sure you have all the correct elements to get started, I want to give that to you absolutely free. Just click the link in the box below and it will take you straight there. And it's my thank you to you for checking out this video today. So let's kind of talk about these 3 golden rules. Number 1, and I think one of the most important, is that a good melody will always attract the listener and leave them wanting more. So melody, and I think a lot of us are melodic composers where we usually start with some sort of hook or a theme in our brains, and the art of developing that into a full piece is what can be challenging. But if you can hum a theme and have it stay in your mind and repeatedly, sing it, then a catchy theme is something that the listener or the layperson will always remember. So if you think about like the pieces you remember the most or your favorite pieces of music, most of them have some sort of catchy melody or some sort of theme that you always go back to and keep on humming because it's written in a way that captures your attention, right? And keeps it, hooks it in. And so, whether that means having a really nice contour in your melody, making sure there's rhythmic variation among the notes, making sure you use intervals, interspersing smaller intervals with larger leaps for emotion and things like that. Writing a theme that really sticks in your mind and feels like it can stand alone is something that's super crucial and super important. And so if you have a melody, then writing around that and building your piece of music around that becomes so much easier because you literally have that foundation of that strong melody. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to every single piece of music because a lot of them are just written as underscore or pieces of music without any melody for the sake of being there, Maybe it's scoring for a film that doesn't need a melody on top. That's totally fine. But I think in most cases where there is some sort of melody involved, the melody should be the strongest element and the most memorable element in there. So that's kind of the first rule that I wanted to bring up, is that if you have a good melody, then you are pretty much guaranteed to have the listener walk away and hum that melody, So that makes a melody so important. The second thing is that a good chord progression is meant to add color and enhance the overall experience of the piece, of the music, instead of overtaking the melody. Because if the melody is the most important thing, then the harmony or the chord progression underneath is the second most important thing. And I think of it as maybe like the melody is like the king in chess and the harmony is queen. So the harmony can go anywhere. It's so elastic, you can do whatever you want with the harmony. But the main role of the harmony is to support the melody. So practically what this could look like is if you have a melody that's relatively simple, you probably don't want to make your harmony overly complex because that will kind of create some dissonance in terms of a balance of having simple and complex. If you have a simple melody and you want it to be easily remembered, then you want the harmony to be relatively easy to remember as well in terms of supporting that melody, right? Something simple you could do is like maybe 2 chords per bar, or at most maybe 3 chords, 4 chords per bar. But generally, as long as the harmony melds with the melody, as long as the harmony melds with the melody in a nice cohesive way, then the harmony is serving its purpose to support the melody rather than overtaking the melody. And so it's really obvious when when some people are trying to flex their music theory chops, really trying to add these extra chords that really don't need to be there, when a simpler one would definitely suffice. You really don't need to overcomplicate things when it comes to harmony. And, knowing music theory is both a blessing and a curse. If you know too much, then you can really get in your own way because you think, okay, actually, I could put that in there and I could put that in there. Or maybe, I could put all 3 of these chord types in there. But keeping things simple is a beautiful way to keep the listener engaged and not alienate them. So for me, that's rule number 2. The harmony should always support the melody rather than overtaking the melody. Okay? And finally, rule number 3 is that the overall music should always tell a story. Doesn't matter if it's scoring for film or if it's a standalone piece of music, whatever it is, it should always have a self-contained story within. Maybe if it's a pop song, right, and it has lyrics in it, the lyrics themselves should tell a story. So usually the first verse establishes the characters, the theme, the setting, then the chorus delivers the main message, the second verse dives into the meat of the story even further. Second chorus delivers that main message again, then the bridge can take us on a slight turn, a slight twist, give us something to look forward to, and then the final chorus re-delivers that message once again. But overall, I think a pop song or any song really with lyrics should have a self-contained story that really takes you from beginning to end. And this also applies to just a standalone piece of music without any lyrics, you know? So the melody itself should take you on a journey from beginning to end. And then again, the harmony is there to just support it and enhance it underneath, but you really don't need to overcomplicate things here. So I usually always say like simple is generally better. The more complicated we get, the easier it is again to, I guess, take the listener out of the listening experience. So yeah, the music should always tell a story. And I'm just thinking for myself, when I'm writing a song, for example, I always want my lyrics to, you know, they have a specific purpose to tell. They have a specific message that I'm trying to convey. But overall, as long as those lyrics are consistent with the message throughout, then I know that I'm not going to confuse the listener, because that's literally the message that I'm trying to deliver without distracting them to any other areas, you know? And yeah, if it's just a single composition, then maybe having like 1 or 2 modulations, but repeating a single theme a few times, you know, again, that can reestablish the strength of a melody, just repeating it. But then giving it some slight variations here and there for interest, like that's another way to make something more interesting and give it more finesse, let's say, you know? So that's kind of the third and final thing that I wanted to share here, is that no matter what you're writing, even if it's like scoring a scene for a film, it should enhance the story of the film, right? It should take it further instead of just being there for the sake of being there and not contributing anything to the film whatsoever, you know? So just to reiterate, the first rule I think is that the melody should always be the focal point if your piece has a melody. And once you're happy with that melody, once you feel it's strong enough and it's memorable enough, then you know that you can build the piece around it confidently, knowing that the melody is able to stand on its own. The second thing is that the harmony or the chord progression should always serve to support the piece of music rather than overtaking the music. And finally, rule number 3 is that the music should always tell a story. Whether, again, it's scoring for film or just a standalone piece of music, the story is the most important thing. So if you're interested in a practical example of something I've done to accommodate all 3 of these rules, for example, definitely listen to my song called Once Again. It's on my channel. It's kind of a Disney-inspired song. It's a duet, actually, and you'll notice that all 3 of these rules I've basically internalized for myself. So the melody I came up with first, then the harmony I laid in underneath to really support the melody and take it to different places. There's a few modulations in there, but overall it's relatively structured. And then rule number 3, in terms of telling the story, the lyrics tell the story from beginning to end, how there is a breakup, but then by the end they can get back together because they've basically been missing each other the whole time. And so I think if you keep these in mind and really put them into practice, you're pretty much set to go. And again, these 3 rules are general guidelines. You don't have to follow them to an absolute T because every piece of music is different. But I think for 90%, 95% of music, if you follow these general guidelines, then they'll be very helpful for you. So hopefully that helps. Let me know which one kind of spoke to you the most. I'd love to know. And again, if you're interested in setting up your studio, making sure you have all those essential elements and writing music, then I want to give you that Composer's Toolkit guide. It's super helpful. A lot of my students have read through it and they've told me it's super helpful for them. So I want to make sure you're equipped with all the necessary ingredients for writing music. And let me know how that goes for you as well. So just click the link below, it'll take you straight there. And again, it's my thank you too for checking out this video today. So I'll catch you in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.